The vote for Brett Kavanaugh to potentially get on the Supreme Court looks like it's gonna happen in the next 48 hours. It doesn't look like there's much at this point that's gonna stop it, but do they actually have the votes? And we have a little bit of information. I'm gonna start now with the Democrats. You might think we know exactly how they're gonna vote. Obviously, they're not gonna put this crazy right-winger who's been accused of multiple sexual assaults on the Supreme Court, but no, we've got some red state Democrats, so you never know. However, some of them have come out and said, like Heidi Heitkamp said, this isn't a political decision. If this were a political decision for me, I certainly would be deciding this the other way. I can't get up in the morning and look at the experience I've had and say yes to Judge Kavanaugh. So Heidi Heitkamp, who is actually in a very tight Senate race in a red state right now, says she is not going to vote for him. So that is good news. Joe Manchin at this point, I don't know.
Okay, so we know how politicians think, and every time it's about getting reelected. Many of them have backgrounds as attorneys. I think probably a significant like majority of them probably. I feel like every one of them, or doctors or whatever else, businessmen. But so the worry about making sure that you're gonna get reelected no matter what, when you're supposed to go there and represent your people, or at least do something that's based on your principles that you probably ran on. I don't understand the obsession with making sure you're gonna get in. It's not like it's your only job or even the best job you've had or highest paying job you ever had in your life, or that you can't do something else. Hey, if you stand by your principles and you vote and make sure you do things that the American people want and you get voted out because of it, okay. Hey, the American people, if they somehow get fooled into thinking your principles that actually helped them along, gets you out of office, you've done your duty and you've served up to a point where you can help. And then they had a mistake in sending you out. It's openly said, straight up, Jeff Flake said it. If I was running for re-election, I wouldn't have even called for this FBI investigation. That he was the catalyst that made it happen. He wouldn't do it because we're worried about re-election so much. Exactly. Just do what you're gonna do. If you don't get re-elected, what's the big deal? Okay, I've been in the Senate for 20 years. Fine, do something else, but do something for American people. It shows where the representation of the country actually is gone. No one cares about representing. They care about getting that next job, as if they don't get that next re-election, they're gonna end up on the streets. It's just not the case.
Yeah, and with the Republicans, I mean, there's only so much pressure we can actually put on them. Like they're raising money to try to get Susan Collins out if she votes for him. That's certainly good. But for the Democrats, I think on some level they haven't really woken up to what's going on in this country because they're worried about the political implications if they don't support him. Here's the thing, we've spent this whole year supporting progressive candidates in primaries where Cenk and I and others, including Jayar, have covered literally every primary night that happened, making sure that people know about the right candidates. That's why we were covering, for example, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in literally dozens of videos a year before the election, while others have finally caught on. And those candidates have been winning. So here's the thing, you might think that if you support Judge Kavanaugh, you have a better chance in the general election. I got news for you, you're gonna lose your primary because we're gonna be waiting for you the next time around. You might think that you've saved your political future. No, you've simply nailed your coffin shut with a slightly different shade of when it's gonna happen. And so that is a promise that I would make to Heidi Heitkamp, to Joe Manchin, hopefully the next time around, and others as well.
Well, Joe Manchin has had a couple knives in his back already for supporting things that this particular administration was talking about. When he made sure he was facilitating whatever it was that Mike Pence wanted. And then Mike Pence still went on the campaign trail and said, you know this loser, you know what he does? He goes around and kisses ass, and then he goes, wait a second, I thought I was on your side. No. And no matter how many times it happens to you, you will continue to push down that road because you think, hey, it's gonna keep me in office, no matter how much you get humiliated, honestly, after you just got through bowing down to someone who actually doesn't care anything about your political aspirations.
Yeah, and two, like, one of the lessons of the past 2 years, or since Donald Trump got in office, is almost anything can happen. No matter how bad it is, it generally passes out of the news, and we move on. That's one of the sad things about the news cycles over the past year. But I got news for you. When it comes to Judge Kavanaugh, for the rest of our lives, I don't care how long passes between now and then, when we hear the name Judge Kavanaugh, we're gonna think multiple sexual assaults. When we hear the name Judge Kavanaugh, we're gonna think of the name Christine Blasey Ford, Deborah Ramirez, Julie Swetnick, and others as well. We're not gonna forget about this, and we're not going to forget how people voted on this. That's true for the Republicans, also true for the Democrats, so bear that in mind. Now, on to the indications that some others have given. Jeff Flake, who of course pushed for this FBI sham investigation in the first place. So Elena Plott of The Atlantic tweeted, I'm told by source with direct knowledge that Flake is, quote, still having issues. and that some colleagues are trying to walk him through them. The issue is that he briefly felt a stiffening in his back, and it was such an unfamiliar sensation that he desperately went to the Republicans to soften him up again. Senator Coons, who along with Flake said that if it turned out that he had lied during his testimony, they would not support him, says that just now that Flake reached out to him and asked if they could speak at length later. A Senate aide said Murkowski is scaring everyone, but I don't know. They won't say who the aide is for. So are they scaring us because they're going to support her, or scaring us because they're not going to support him?
I don't know. The
Honestly,
easy question to ask Jeff Flake in this whole thing is, after that interview, I'm sure people in the media have seen this, maybe reporters. He's doing a media tour. So after he said, if it comes out that he was lying in the testimony last week, then that would eliminate him completely. Hey, many publications, many people, maybe watch the Young Turks, pointed out the multiple times he lied at that testimony. So the next question of Jeff Flake is, so here's my list.
Yeah.
I got 5 pages of lies. Which one of these is the one that's gonna disqualify him? And let him answer that question, because I still don't believe him.
Yeah. Look, my gut says that they're gonna disappoint us.
My gut always
That's what my gut says.
Because
it doesn't always happen.
Yeah.
John McCain,
that's true.
As bad as he is, he did put the thumbs down on the full ACA repeal. It is possible that Jeff Flake will decide in the last days that he will serve as a senator. And I know he thinks that this is just one step on the continuation of his career when he runs for and becomes the Republican nominee for president. Jeff Flake, buddy, that's not going to happen, okay? This is the end. Go out with a little bit of pride, a little bit of dignity, do the right thing, okay? You're gonna go, you're gonna lobby, you're gonna make tons of money. You are gonna be absolutely fine, but you're not gonna be president. So don't worry about that. Worry about what message you are sending to tens of millions of women who have been through similar experiences and want for once to think that their government actually has their back and not just the backs of well-connected, powerful conservative males. And please do the right thing.
What is it? He can only lose one. He can still lose one Republican vote. I think I remember seeing. He can lose one Republican vote. I'm trying to think of the numbers.
Yes.
And then still survive. So, even in that aspect, there would need to be 2, and that's why I have such skepticism on this.
Like what you see? Click the subscribe button below, and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss another video from the Young Turks.